The danger of greed and the unknown. The town of Crestfall had a legend, a story told for generations about a hidden treasure buried deep within the forgotten woods. Many had tried to find it, but none had returned. People said the forest was cursed, that it trapped the souls of those who entered, never allowing them to leave. Isaac had grown up hearing those stories, but he never believed them. He was a man of logic, not superstition. He saw the legend as nothing more than an excuse for those who lacked the courage to face the unknown. And Isaac was not afraid of the unknown. One misty morning, Isaac decided it was time. He packed his bag with supplies, food, water, and a map that had been passed down through his family for generations, supposedly leading to the treasure. As he stood at the edge of the forest, the towering trees seemed to shift in the fog, their branches twisting like outstretched arms. He hesitated for a moment, a sliver of doubt creeping into his mind, but then he pushed forward. The air inside the forest was thick and heavy, filled with the scent of damp earth and decay. Isaac followed the map closely, moving deeper into the woods as the trees grew denser, their gnarled roots twisting underfoot. Hours passed, and the sun was just a dim glow through the canopy above. But Isaac pressed on, confident he could find the treasure and return before nightfall. The deeper he went, the stranger the forest became. He noticed things out of the corner of his eye, shadows that seemed to move, figures that disappeared when he turned to look. At first, he dismissed them as tricks of the light, but the feeling of being watched grew stronger with every step. The air felt colder, and the silence was unnerving. Then he came across something unexpected. An old stone marker, half buried in the dirt, covered in moss. It wasn't on his map, but it looked ancient, almost like a gravestone. Isaac paused, staring at it. He felt an urge to turn back, but the promise of the treasure kept him going. He was close now. He could feel it. As he continued, the path became harder to follow. The map didn't seem to make sense anymore, and the landmarks he was supposed to see weren't there. It was as if the forest had shifted, changing its layout to confuse him. Isaac's heart began to race, and the feeling of being watched became overwhelming. His breath came in shallow bursts, and his legs felt heavier with each step. Suddenly, he stumbled into a clearing. In the center stood a massive ancient tree, its twisted branches stretching high into the sky. Beneath its roots, half buried in the earth, was a chest, old, rusted, but unmistakably the treasure. Isaac's heart leapt. He had found it. Against all odds, he had succeeded. But as he moved toward the chest, a voice echoed through the clearing, a low, whispering sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Leave it or stay forever. Isaac froze. His mind raced, but he couldn't see where the voice had come from. The air around him felt thick, pressing in on him, suffocating. His hands trembled, but he couldn't stop himself. He reached for the chest, his fingers brushing the cold metal. As soon as he touched it, the ground beneath him shook. The roots of the ancient tree began to writhe, twisting around his legs, pulling him down. Panic surged through Isaac, and he fought to free himself. But the more he struggled, the tighter the roots became. The whispers grew louder, filling his head, drowning out his thoughts. Leave or stay forever. Desperation gripped him. Isaac yanked his legs free and ran, leaving the chest behind. The forest seemed to close in around him, the trees twisting and warping as he ran, the path shifting beneath his feet. He could hear the whispers chasing him, the wind howling through the trees like laughter. Hours passed, or maybe it was minutes. It was impossible to tell. But finally, the edge of the forest came into view, and Isaac stumbled out, collapsing onto the ground outside the woods. The air felt lighter, the whispers gone, but the memory of them lingered in his mind. Isaac never went back to the forgotten woods. He never told anyone what had happened, but the villagers noticed a change in him. The distant look in his eyes, the way he flinched at shadows, and the nights he spent staring at the forest, as if still hearing the whispers calling him back. The treasure remained lost, but Isaac knew one thing. Some things are better left untouched, some paths better left untraveled.